Hello, everyone. You're watching Let's Talk About Prepping. I'm Tyler, your host, and in this live stream, we're just going to hang out and chat. I'm going to talk about some of my channel goals for the next few months, given that we're a couple months into 2020. My year goals still stand with wanting to improve my finances, fitness, and find some further education. But I've been trying to figure out my focus for the channel for the next few months. Pardon me. And I think what I'm going to try to focus on video wise for the next few months is going to be a lot of production, physical skills to help produce money or things for yourself to use. I think that one of the most valuable skills to have for being prepared, being sustainable, being self-sufficient is being able to produce things, whether that's being able to take raw materials and create something of value, or being able to salvage, scrap, recycle, reuse things in a way that is efficient and useful for you. And this covers a lot of different things, but I'm going to be focusing on things that anybody can do on any budget. Trying to start focusing on lower budget preps, things that people without a lot of money or resources to put into something can still find the things that they need, the materials that they need to produce something of value, something that can be traded at market now or later, or something that is useful to everybody in a real world sense right now. I'm going to try to focus on restoring tools and just different things you can do with your hands that will produce things of value. Aside from that, I'm going to be focusing on just being active. This year, I'm going to make it one of my goals to be out doing videos with practical skills outside, doing some camping, just being motivated. And I'd like to try to promote that in others as well. I think that one of the best ways that we can help ourselves be prepared for the future is by not only just sitting here on our computers, in our phones, talking about preparedness, but actually making moves and doing stuff on a daily basis to make ourselves feel more active, more involved in our lives. Because at the end of the day, preparedness should not be just about preparing against emergencies or specific situations, but actually improving our lifestyles and then fortifying those, making them something that's worth actually protecting. Because yes, it's always worth surviving, but at the end of the day, if we're just trying to get by another day so that we can sit in our chairs at home, that's not necessarily what we need to be doing to be building enough to be prepared for a future where there's going to be challenges. I think that one of the best things that we can do for ourselves as preppers, and a lot of us are guilty of not doing, is getting out of our houses and being a part of the world. There's a lot of us that are, hey, Suburban Homesteader. Yeah, I met you just earlier on. Good to see you. I agree. Yeah, we should definitely be thriving through our preps. It should not just be about, heaven forbid, just sitting here and talking on YouTube. And, if you've taken steps and actually are preparing, hey, Peggy, bro, how you doing? If you've taken steps to start actually preparing, you've got some things here and there, it's time to step it up. It's time to actually start putting hands on, try to grow a small garden, try to get really involved in growing your preps rather than just getting a can of food here and there. Figure out a way that you can start actually moving forward, get some regular input, figure out a way to save money that you can devote specifically towards preps, something that you have not already done and something that you can earmark where your proceeds from that go specifically towards not just preps, not just buying things, but growth for yourself. Even if that's about saving money and investing it in silver or something to grow, reusing it to flip things from Craigslist to make more money, whatever it is that you need to do to increase your preparedness, to increase your lifestyle and make it worth being something to protect and fortify. I want to make that something that we can work on here. I've got a lot of things that means for me. but I'd also like input from you guys either tonight here in the chat or in the comment section afterwards. What are some things that you would like to see input on, feedback from this community? I'm willing to do research and put videos out on things if there's enough people that really want to see specific things to help them further their preparedness, which obviously, as I've said already in this video a few times, isn't just about preparing against emergencies, but just improving and fortifying our stuff. What do you need to do to get your life moving in the better track? Because that's really what you need in order to be prepared for whatever life is going to bring. Because even if there isn't an emergency, even if any of these threats don't ever pop up and become something serious, we're still going to have to live our life for the decades to come. So that's why a lot of my preparedness lately has to do with simply improving my lifestyle. The fitness, the finance, the further education is all geared towards my life being better regardless of what's going to happen in the next few years or whatever. And I do believe that whatever those are, fitness and finance particularly are going to directly affect it. I mean, a lot of people are worried about the pandemic lately. A lot of people are worried about the economy. And both of those things are things that you're greatly aided in by being healthy and being financially secure. So those are the kinds of things that I'm going to be focusing on: finding ways to produce value, produce positive income, being outside, being active, finding things that motivate us to do those kinds of things. And just on an individual basis, I'm planning on doing gardening videos. My garden series fell apart last year. I had a lot of things come up. I got a second job, had some family emergencies crop up. But this year it's looking like I'll have the ability to run at least a modest garden. And that's something that I think is really important for sustainability, for health, just having your own source of fresh food. Like I said, I'm going to be trying to get out, do some camping videos, do some tool restoration videos. Got a few things around here that could definitely use some buffing up and new handles, that kind of stuff. And I think that that's the kind of skill that a lot of us could really use under our belts if we don't already have it, is just the ability to look at what you have, look at what's available to you, to be able to walk down the street and see what other people see as garbage or scrap, and see something that you can directly turn into $5 or $10 or something else in whatever given situation that you're in. So those kinds of physical production, restoration skills, scrapping, reusing are going to be some of my focus for the coming months. That's cool, Suburban Homesteader. So got just a couple of you guys. If anyone's got any thoughts or things that they're going to be talking about on their channels or things they'd like to see talked about by somebody here on YouTube, I'm always open for input. Got Will from Just in Time Prepping. We got High Desert Pioneer. How you guys doing? I've just been sitting here talking about some of my goals for coming up videos in the coming months, just where I want to take the channel a little bit. And a lot of that's going to have to do with doing things with your hands, actually getting active on a lot of our preps rather than just talking about it, sitting here and going round and round on the YouTube sphere. Hey, West Virginia Prepared Mind, how you doing? Like I said, I want to do some gardening videos. I want to do some camping videos. I'm going to be doing some tool restoration and actually just home production. One of the channel video ideas that I have is one that I've actually mentioned in the past. I'm going to try to make a pattern for, let's say, magazine dump pouches, ammo dump pouches, just tactical pouches made out of cheap material that you can purchase at Walmart or anywhere that you can get this stock utility material, and get a sewing machine or rivet punch, and people can be making some sort of cheap but pretty usable tactical pouches that they might be able to find a market for. Just very simple things like that that are not necessarily groundbreaking ideas, but might help a few of us produce something of value either for ourselves or for others that maybe we haven't thought of before. But just things like restoring old tools, those are pretty popular videos on YouTube, but they're actually very practical skills for us to have now. Whether it's just for being able to restore tools that you have, a lot of people will throw away an axe head because the handle is broken, because it's almost cheaper and easier to just go get a new axe than to replace an axe handle, which you can readily purchase. It's just a lot of people don't want to do that kind of thing. And people like us can go and get free axe heads, and just for the effort of replacing the handle on it, produce tools that we can go and resell. And there's a lot of simple things like this that may not sound like a lot for people who have jobs and things like that. But if you are on a very tight income, if you are unemployed, if you're on disability, the ability to produce $5 or $10 here and there is huge. And in a grid down situation, the ability to have a production skill is going to be one of the greatest things that you can give yourself for preparedness. A lot of us have skills that will disappear in usefulness in a lot of these grid down situations, and being able to look at what you have around you and produce something of value from it is going to be one of the best things that you can have. Got a few people come in. Got Gil, got Will, West Virginia Prepared Mind. Suburban Homesteader's been hanging out in here. How's everyone doing tonight? Yep, I am backed right into a corner here. I've got my little set up, so I figured this would be where I'd stream at. And yeah, if you could see the table that I have set up in front of me with all my lights and everything, it's a little nook that I've got set up. Oh, thanks, Gil. Yeah, just a few little knickknacks I figured, sort of doodads to represent different prepping stuff. One of the biggest challenges that I have in making a video is finding a decent spot to film it, where there's decent sound quality, decent light quality. And I knew that one of the best ways to just be able to make a video without having to worry too much about it or have too many things get in the way is to have something like this set up. So it's been helping for my last few videos. I definitely, like I was saying, I want to, now that spring seems to be springing, I'll be trying to get outside and do some camping videos, do some outside videos like I have in the past. But I haven't done any actual camping videos, but I've done a lot of hiking, outdoor stuff. Oh, yeah, the tinfoil hat. I'm pretty proud of that. It's got a no trespassing sign on it. Very cool, Prepared Mind. Yeah, I went into Walmart today. I was getting creamer. I think that was all I needed to purchase today. But it was hard to tell if everybody, I think it was just a regular busy day. I haven't actually noticed any changing purchasing patterns in my area. I know a lot of places people are buying a lot of stuff differently in response to the economy or the virus or whatever, but I actually haven't noticed that. Everything that I've ever gone to look at, whether that be even masks or disinfectant stuff, has all been just fine. But definitely seemed like a busy night. Anyway, for those of you who are not in here, whenever I was listing some of the videos I plan on doing, I am planning on getting back into my bucket garden series. I'm going to do some raised beds, try to put some cheap raised beds together. One of my hesitations with that is that they do tend to cost money to put together. And while I have disposable income, I always want to try to gear things towards those who, even if they do have disposable income, are trying to do trying to be as efficient with their money and their preparedness as possible and make it stretch and go as far as they can. And it's not always the best option to go and purchase materials, nice materials to build a raised bed with. And I have nothing against somebody who's doing that because they want to build something of value that's going to last and stuff. But one of the hindrances for a lot of people is the cost of getting into something like that. So I do want to get into, hey, Creative Redundancy, Uncle Al, how you guys doing? Angela, hey there. So when I do something like a raised bed or whatever, while I'm definitely willing to do, go to the lumber store and get everything that I need to make a nice one, and I would love to be able to be a homeowner to where I can really invest a lot of money into the things that I do like that. I also always want to do something like try to find scrap materials to build them and give some ideas for where to find those materials so that, people on a budget can also do that. But that's also why I really like my bucket garden idea. And I got some good results, even though I had to pretty much abandon my garden last year. I definitely think the 5-gallon bucket garden idea is a really good option for people who are renting like I am. And even just as a good option for anybody, because it's pretty cool to have plants that are in buckets that you can just pick up and move around or potentially throw into a trailer and move literally across town or away with you. I had some pretty decent success with a lot of spinach and my onions and potatoes in my bucket garden last year. I just pretty much had to leave them all to die because I got 2 jobs, like I said, family emergencies, stuff like that. But it's definitely something I want to experiment with and get into gardening because it's something that I haven't done in quite a while. So just, like I said, things with my hands, production skills, getting outside, fitness, finding things to produce money, I guess, if you will, or at least things of value to ourselves or people that we can trade with. Just skills that will be useful in a lot of different situations. Very cool, Prepared Mind. Yeah. Bucket gardening is interesting. It's definitely very different than having a plot of land that you can just sow rows into or, have all that soil to work with. You definitely need to know how deep that plant is going to want to grow into that soil and pay close attention to the hydration of the soil. Yeah, it's definitely interesting, suburban homesteader. There still hasn't been much public reaction to it in my area, at least. So, hey, Wayne, how you doing? And I've definitely so far been waiting to see what the public reaction is. So now that I got a few of you guys pretty active in the chat, what kind of videos, if you guys have channels, what kind of videos are you going to be focusing on in the coming months? And if you are more of an audience viewer, what kind of videos would you like to see? What kind of topics do you think would be good topics for the preparedness, prepping, homesteading community to try to address coming up? Yeah, creative redundancy. I do have one of those 65-gallon drum. I think it's a 130-gallon rotating composter. I'm actually pretty excited. I'm going to go out, check out all my buckets of dirt and my composter and see how it all is, how it's all doing this spring. Because this winter did not freeze nearly as much as it normally does. So I think that my composter has probably actually been composting a little faster than it normally would with a hard freeze winter. Oh, yeah. If you guys are not following, Living the Dream Homestead, but Angela Off Grid there is Living the Dream Homestead, and they are going to be having baby animals here soon. So give me 1 second there. You guys can follow Angela. Angela, do you post stuff to that channel right there? Or is it pretty much all on Living the Dream? All right, this will be a link to their most recent video, but not their channel, but you can get their channel through that. But they have a very good channel. Definitely suggest you guys go and check them out. They recently got visited by Homestead Rescue on Discovery Channel and got a lot of cool stuff done there. Okay, yeah, so Angela's is just for chatting. She's not going to have any content there. So go to Living the Dream Homestead and check them out. They're going to be having some baby animals here soon, and they just have a pretty cool back channel of stuff from even way back before they had Discovery Channel come visit them. But it's a pretty cool little experience to go watch it. You know, they've got their homestead is what it looks like when someone jumps right into it, gets a bunch of animals, and it just grows out organically. I've done videos at their place. They've got plenty of videos of before and after, but it's amazing to look at such a quick progression from just, you know, raw homestead into, just from the videos that they have, what it looks like now. I mean, there's always more to do, but they've got some cool stuff going on over there. Oh, creative. Yeah, a grinder, some kind of blender or grinder for composting stuff, like a chipper would be a pretty good thing. I haven't gotten into composting at that degree. Just like I said, the rolling compost tumbler that we have. So everything we throw in there can be crumbled up by hand. Will's going to have Howie from Food Forest Permaculture on. That's awesome. Am I getting an online job, Uncle Al? I mean, not beyond, you know, all the money that I get from YouTube. But nope, I'm keeping on with the one I got. Yeah, Angela, I know a little bit about compost, but not nearly as much as a lot of people on here. Actually, Howie, Will was probably just mentioning Howie because Howie from Food Forest Permaculture channel is he knows a lot about that kind of stuff. Yeah, it is hard with the freezing. I mean, it's a good few months that you really don't get to compost very well because all the stuff is frozen. If you guys really want a good source of information, and it's actually a book that I'm going to be reviewing because I was sent it by Will over at Just in Time Prepping, is the Green Wizard's Guide to Saving Your Soil. That's probably not the last few words of it, but the Green Wizard's Guide is the name of the book, and it's saving your soil, not your soul. It's over in the other room, or else I would show it to you guys. But it's a really good book about enriching your soil. But collecting walking liberties, I collect whatever is a decent price. I don't go for anything that's marked up a little more because it's popular or whatever. I actually really like the strategic silver. You're probably not going to be able to focus on it, but the strategic silver stockpile USSA office coins, because they're just junk silver. You get it for as cheap as you can, but you get your ounce, and there you go. I'm not looking for numismatic value or trying to, you know, gain by hedging amounts, you know, prices or whatever. I'm just looking to turn some money into a little bit of silver. Well, it's a good clarification to make about the soil, not the soul. Although saving your soil might save your soul. Suburban Homestead, Wyoming is teaching a compost class for the master gardeners here in Wyoming in April. That's pretty cool. I probably won't be able to make it over to Wyoming in April, but that would be pretty cool to attend. Gil, I'd totally be interested in that, but I imagine you're probably doing it in the evening on Tuesday, and I will probably be at work. So I'll probably be gladly listening, but I don't think I'll be able to do. I often miss those panels because I'm working whenever they're going on, unfortunately. We're losing Uncle Al. He's always got Wi-Fi problems. Oh yeah, Wayne, I saw you mention that you bought silver on the dip. I wasn't paying enough attention. Where do I get my silver? Well, that's part of it. Is I get my silver at local coin stores, just locally owned by coin collectors in my area, and they tend to have decent prices. I always check the spot price on the national market for silver before I go in there, and the ones in my area always do fair business. So I just get junk silver there, and I'm sure that I can get better silver prices if I, like some of these guys in here go online to, dealers and stuff and look for really good prices and get a lot for cheap, But in reality, I'm really just getting an ounce or two and also some constitutional at a time. So for me, it's more just putting a little bit aside here and there. Yeah, thank you for the offer, Gil. I appreciate that. I'd love to get on some of your guys' panels more often when I get the chance. But currently, it's funny. My schedule just sort of always lands on all those times. Hey, Ryan, how you doing? And Jeremy, how's it going? Yeah, Jeremy, I do a guerrilla live streams. I just sort of decide to do them and pop up. One day I will start scheduling my live streams, and maybe then we'll actually get a larger group. But I actually really like whenever I can only have enough people to just have a nice chat and not have it go fly by too fast that everybody can't read it. So Wayne buys 90%. So things like constitutional quarters and silvers, things like that, at flea markets and Bullion and Eagles from JM and SD Bullion. Yeah, but I do, Jeremy, sometimes get the feeling that maybe I have been I get notification shadow ban sometimes. That's okay. I actually like a modest organic growth with small, audience that I know personally. Oh, Angela, yeah, I've actually noticed a lot of. I've been getting my bell turned off for other people quite often lately. I'll go. If you guys notice that I don't watch or comment your channel, it's probably because I don't ever see it, because I'll go and look and be like, oh, I totally forgot about this channel because I haven't been getting to see their, it hasn't been popping up in my stream in forever. I know, Jeremy, it's actually very strange because notifications are one thing, but I always check my subscription feed, and that should definitely show you everything that happens. But it actually, I've been noticing that things that I should have seen earlier were not there, and then show up after the fact, like they had always been there. So, I'm not a YouTube conspiracyist. In fact, they openly say a lot of this stuff. They say we are allowed to mess with your subscription feed. We are allowed to hide things that you think you should be seeing, because it's all a part of our experiment and you've agreed to it in the terms and services or conditions of service. So it is what it is. And a lot of the time, yeah, it does target certain groups, but even if you ask somebody inside of YouTube, they don't even always understand the workings of it, because there are so many people putting things into the algorithm. Gil, I might be open on Saturdays. It really depends. Sometimes it depends on if I get off work and get home and have any responsibilities, because I can fall into that 5 o'clock shadow. But no, I could probably do some panels on a Saturday evening sometime. Yeah, creative. I actually do that pretty often. If I see a channel in a live stream and I realize that I haven't heard from them in a while, haven't seen one of their videos in a while, I'll go check their channel and actually look at everything and see if I've been unsubscribed. And it's been happening a surprising amount lately. All right. Good night, West Virginia Prepared Mind. Thanks for dropping in. So what do you guys think is a good focus for channels like ours in the coming year? Or things that you're going to be focused on? Like I said, I'm mostly going to be focusing on improving lifestyle and fortifying that. Well, Jeremy, I was just getting back into it. Mostly I was just talking about my channel's focus for the coming months. I'm going to try to get a garden going and focus on production skills, like just things that anybody can do with their hands to produce something of value, something to trade, or something that they can use themselves. I'm going to learn how to patch up clothes. I have boxes and boxes of old jeans. I have not thrown away jeans in at least 6 or 8 years. So that's quite a lot of jeans, because I go through them and I put them away whenever the holes in the knees or other places get thick enough that they're just, you can't really wear them and be, I'm not even worried about being fashionable, but at some point you look too ratty to be out in public and not just look like a, whatever I would look like with trashy clothes. So I've got boxes and boxes of clothes that I can cannibalize down into patched up jeans. And that's a skill that, while I could do it, I want to learn how to do it well. And I've got plenty of seamstresses in my family. So that's something I'm going to pick up, because being able to make your clothes last longer is definitely a valuable skill in a lot of situations. But yeah, like Suburban Homesteading said, gardening and herbs is a good one. Multiple income streams. Just make them into shorts. Well, yeah, I just figure that I can probably at least patch a couple onto the others, or make some double layer, knee covers and stuff like that, sort of like Carhartts are. But yeah, sort of like we were saying here in the chat, just creating multiple income streams, being able to produce food. My garden is going to be pretty simple, pretty small, but I actually want to focus on seeing how much you can produce from that sample. I'm going to try to focus on things that, if you were in a grid down situation, if you were trying to garden for your calories, for your bare bones nutrition, what would I grow? Yep, I'm going to do buckets again, Jeremy, and I'm going to try to go follow through with it this time. I'll just have the one job, so hopefully I won't get too busy I'm going to do some raised beds. Yeah, I'm going to try to do some cheap, make some raised beds from salvage materials, and do something a little more than the buckets. But Gil had to grow up with patched jeans. Yeah, I mean, that's why I do that as an adult, is because we weren't above doing that kind of stuff. My parents liked to get us clothes and stuff like that, but yeah, we weren't above having repaired clothes and things like that, or just having things that you just wore until you just couldn't wear them anymore. But yeah, for the garden, I'm definitely going to try to focus on doing, well, because I rent, I do want to focus on that and use that as something, sort of a test bed for other renters, because if you rent, one of the biggest hindrances to doing something, starting a project, is worrying about not only do you have to alter where you're at, but is it going to look cluttery? You know, you have to worry about if the homeowner is going to come by and ask why you've got all this stuff sitting out in the yard for your project. So you just have to worry about appearances and things like that, let alone just not being able to alter your ground to have a garden and stuff like that. So if you can get buckets and if you can grow a decent amount of food in these buckets, you can move them around so that you don't damage the grass that they're on, stuff like that. It could really open a lot of options up to get some renters trying out gardens. I had a lot of success with spinach last year. And I think between things like that, sweet potatoes, sunflowers, and a few other things, you can produce a surprising amount of calories and nutrients and oils and things like that with a pretty small footprint without too much effort put into it. And for people who are renting or have a small bit of land to work with and they don't really want to till it all up for a garden, being able to put dirt into buckets and put it on asphalt even might be pretty cool. So just stuff like that. So I'm going to try to go more with the small but dense, you know, things like sweet potatoes that have a lot of calories and nutrients. And I'll go for some flavor, get some peppers and some herbs and things like that, especially because a lot of herbs have a lot of nutrients in them. But it's going to be sort of a survival garden. Yeah, I don't think iron-on patches so much. I'm looking at more like cutting up some pairs of jeans to patch up the others or something like that. And there probably won't be anything that looks good, but they're already work jeans. So if I just have to do a few layers over the knees to have some, you know, some jeans for going out into the woods, maybe even some jeans that would be good for chainsawing in and stuff, having 3 or 4 layers of denim. Obviously, I actually need to get chaps and stuff like that whenever I get back into chainsawing because I don't have any of my chainsaw gear anymore. But you know, I would totally love to throw some decent homemade Carhartts together. Exactly, function over fashion. I mean, I haven't shown a lot of my work clothes on the channel because usually I try to look a little nicer, but I look like a backwoods redneck whenever I'm tromping through the woods looking for trees for firewood or something like that. Don't have any doubt about that. Yeah, Gil, a lot of people have a lot of success with buckets. Like I said, my troubles last year had nothing to do with the buckets or really even the dirt, although I'm pretty sure I did find glass in some of the Walmart dirt that I bought. But so I am going to have to pick through it to make sure that's not the case. But no, I threw some spinach seeds into some buckets and mostly ignored them, and they still managed to grow. So, and I like spinach. Spinach is a very nutritious leafy green. So Suburban Homesteader got out of a 10-foot single row 10 to 15 pounds of carrots, 7 pounds of broccoli. I'm pretty sure that these are 1 10-foot row of each of these vegetables will produce this much in pounds. So it's there. I probably won't sit here and ramble it off to you guys, but there in the live chat at 38.55 is a bunch of lists of the pounds of food that you can get from a single row of different vegetables and foods. Pretty valuable information. Thank you for that, Suburban Homesteader. I'm glad you're here to share that. Okay, and they confirmed. Suburban Homesteader, do you have a gender pronoun for me to use for you? But yeah, they confirmed that each single vegetable row that they listed there is for 1 row, 10 foot, how many pounds you'll get from that row. All right, good seeing you, Jeremy. Thanks for dropping in. Appreciate you being here. And we'll catch you later. Sandy, how you doing? That's great, Gil. Yeah, I actually need to talk to my family members and learn the specifications. We got a couple sewing machines around the house, but I'm not sure how heavy duty they are. But I'd really hope that we have one that can do some heavy sewing through multiple layers like that. Yep. Catch you later, Jeremy. Anyways, what do you guys got your focus on for the coming months? Or what would you like to see from this channel in the coming months? Like I said, I do plan on doing gardening, plan on doing hands-on things like tool restoration, practical production skills, getting out in nature, doing some hiking, doing some camping. I actually do plan on doing some bushcraft skills just because that's something I've always loved. I haven't been camping, like I used to in quite a while. I grew up doing even week-long expedition-style camping 3-4 days at a time, and that's something I haven't done in quite a while. And now that I have a position in life where I can take some time off of my job here and there and go do 4 or 5 days in the woods for a while, I definitely want to get into doing some of that kind of stuff, especially once I break 1,000 and can do live streams from my cell phone. I'll find places where I can do that sometimes and go out and do some, setting up a camp, staying out in the woods for a week at a time, maybe even do some simulated bug outs here coming up this year. So keeping that in mind, I would always love input from the audience for things that they'd like to see, maybe things they haven't seen before. One of my biggest goals with this channel is to use it as a test bed or demonstration ground for things that you guys want to see, because if I'm able to do something that others aren't able to do and they want to see it done, that's part of the reason that I started this channel, is to use it as a group experiment. Welcome back there, Uncle Al. Yeah, Uncle Al, Wi-Fi can be pretty annoying sometimes. Definitely going to try to do some more shooting videos, see how that affects my YouTube likability. But I haven't been shooting in a couple months, so definitely something I want to go out and do. And one thing that I've been trying to do is find somewhere that I can shoot a couple 100-300 yards and see how my shotgun skills at that range are, because that's something I used to enjoy doing, is shooting shotgun slugs at long distances and seeing how hard it is to get down to something that would be scary to be on the receiving end of. I've always thought that shotguns are the most versatile weapon, and I'm sure some of you in here are already nodding your head, because I'm this is a cliche for me, but that's definitely something that I've had the itch to get out and do some more this year. So what's your morbid thought there, Uncle Lau? Which YouTubers will drop dead? I don't know why they should. YouTubers, well, no, I won't say that they're generally healthy, but a lot of YouTubers tend to stay away from people. So I don't know. Wayne is. So once the snow is gone and the ground is defrosted, Gil will be working the soil with the tractors, building raised planter beds, and pouring concrete for an RV pad. Very cool. Those will be some good videos. So Wayne thinks that his location will lead to him dropping dead. Now I'm assuming Uncle Al means because of the coronavirus. Suburban homesteader won an over-under shotgun and hasn't shot it yet. Well, I might need to drive over there and help you because that's a shame. What kind of over-under is it? Yeah, Wayne. I think that that will definitely cause more fear and panic. It probably won't cause more deaths. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of detrimental health effect from the panic buying, or at least a financial effect. But it'll be definitely interesting. Yeah, Gil, I did see that there were 2 deaths from the virus in Washington, but I'm not sure the context about them. Flooding and tornadoes. Yeah, I mean those are pretty inevitable. I have wondered actually lately, just an odd random thought, how many of the fellow YouTubers might have died since we've known them. I mean, there are plenty of names that I could probably think of if we all sat here long enough, people that we've used to see in live streams and stuff that we don't see around anymore. You do sort of wonder how many of those just don't YouTube anymore, or how many got in a car wreck or whatever. Just an interesting thought I sometimes have. 24 total cases in Canada. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I still am and have been pretty much for the whole, ever since I heard about it, playing wait and see. There are a few red flags that would cause me to change behavior patterns or start wearing personal protective equipment if I was in certain situations. But as it stands, I do feel that all the conversation that needs to be had about it is being had, and I don't have anything unique to add to the conversation. That being said, I do plan on doing a video soon for the sake of anybody that, because I do advertise, I hand out cards for the channel if I have an interesting conversation with someone, and I do plan on doing more of that. And I like to have a lot of videos out at any given time addressing why we prep, what prepping is, the current state of prepping, and things like that. And currently, I think that a lot of people are talking to their friends and family about not just the virus, but preparedness in general, because things like the virus, things like economic fluctuations do cause people to approach those in their life that they know are into prepping and preparedness and things like that. Whether or not it's because they're worried about coronavirus or whatever. I think that a lot of us lately have had somebody come up and say, hey, so you know something about this, don't you? Sometimes it's helpful to have a video by somebody that is just sort of a nice encapsulated package that says, so you've heard about prepping, kind of thing. And that's something that I do plan on putting out. I do plan on packaging a little bit towards, so you're worried about coronavirus. Here's why you probably shouldn't worry too much about that directly, but here are some things that you can do just generally to make sure that you're always in a safe place. Is it Ithaca? I don't know if Ithaca does over-unders, and Italy has plenty of shotgun companies. Yeah, creative. There have been, I've encountered multiple people who, which for one thing, I already am pretty open about my channel and stuff like that with coworkers and family and just anybody. who I have a reason to have a decent conversation with. So I can't necessarily say that I represent everybody, because people are more likely to come up to me and talk about that kind of stuff than they might be with most preppers who don't talk about that with anyone. But I think that most people, and I've heard it from others, they have had people go, so, hey, what do you think about this? Because I know you talk about it online or whatever. And it's useful to have something besides a lot of what is being put online, a lot of videos, and I'm not faulting them, but a lot of the videos that focus on this are directed towards us, the prepper audience. And it's sort of hard to just show that to somebody who has no background on prepping, except for the misconceptions that they're given by mainstream media, and have the confidence to hand it to them and go, here's something that will actually brief you on the situation, and we'll talk to you in your situation. And I do try to sometimes get something out. I have in the past done Facebook shareable videos that pretty much anybody can share with someone and have a reasonable, so here's what you, as a normal person who doesn't care about preparedness, doesn't know about prepping, thinks it's a little bit crazy and it's all doomsday-ish, here is what you can take from this. And that is something that I haven't had anything unique to add to the conversation, but I do feel that that would be a useful thing, not only for me to do, but maybe to help, maybe others think about doing themselves, is just thinking about this from the perspective, because this is definitely, I think, one of the biggest takeaways that we as a community can take from this situation is stepping back and looking at how we talk about this kind of thing internally, and the difference between that and how you have to talk about it to somebody who has no context, who has no background conversation on this. Because to be honest, a lot of our conversation on it sounds crazy from the outside, and you can't just, a lot of live streams, especially the side chat, a lot of this, the imagination that goes on and just the uncertainty, it scares a lot of people away. And it really helps to have a package that just a normal person off the street that is used to having their life dictated by mainstream media and stuff can appreciate without just zoning out a few seconds into it. But aside from that, I don't have too much to say. So I haven't said much. But anyways, anybody have any thoughts on topics or any chat conversation topics to bring up now? I'll probably try to keep this one short so that we can all have a good night's rest and be up to chat early in the morning. I know that there's a couple channels that'll be doing Monday stuff. And Wayne makes a good point. I think that proper respiratory protection, whether that's an N95 or whatever else, can help you avoid getting the virus. But I think that your best bet is to not be where it is, obviously. So self-quarantine, just a lot of different options besides just, I think I might be losing chat here, so we'll probably be wrapping it up. Being able to self-quarantine for any period of time, as long as possible, is one of the best abilities to have. And because it lines up so well with all other preps, that has always been my suggestion, is simply be prepared enough to be able to take care of yourself and your needs to be self-sustaining for as long as possible. So like Wayne said, being able to self-quarantine for up to 90 days, being able to just stay inside and eat off of what you've got, being able to take care of yourself for 3 months is the gold standard for being prepared for most situations. So definitely agree with that. And I don't know if I've lost you guys or not. Let me see. Let me hear back if you guys can hear me right now. definitely seem to be having a little bit of an internet hiccup at the moment. So all right. Well, my phone looks like it's working, but I'm going to wrap this up because once this happens, it definitely doesn't tend to get better. So Uncle Al got a free Lodge pan. That's pretty awesome. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Thank you to anybody who rewatches and actually makes it through to the 55, 56-minute mark. It's been a very good chat. I think I'm going to wrap it up tonight and maybe try to put a little work into video for tomorrow. So hope you're all doing well. Hope this year's going well for you. Hope you all stay healthy and happy. And let's all work towards improving our lifestyles and making them something worth protecting. Definitely, if you guys want to comment on the replay of the video, what kind of topics you would like to see talked about, what things you think are important for the community or for individuals in the coming year, I would definitely like to hear that from you. And yep, Gil, I agree with you on the most people live paycheck to paycheck. I would definitely have some very serious consequences financially if I went 90 days without income. So I definitely can't talk from a pedestal on that, but it's definitely, like I said, the gold standard, pretty hard to obtain. But the longer that you can push that self-sustaining window, the better off you are. Okay, yep. For some reason my chat window lost connection. I've got you back now, but I am going to wrap it up because, like I said, I can hear a couple of my family members on the internet, and once that happens, once the internet starts getting bottlenecked at the IP, it's sort of over. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for rewatching. Appreciate all of your input. This is definitely something I want to try doing more often, and scheduling it so that we can have some decent conversation with a lot more of our fellow viewers and stuff. So love to hear you guys' input. Appreciate you guys here in the chat who already did give input on their thoughts, what they plan on focusing on, stuff like that. And we'll see you in the coming videos. Hope you're all doing well, and everybody stay safe out there. And Wayne, yep, I agree. Don't have to be rich, but you can have passive income and no debt and be able to get by pretty well, or at least not feel the pinch when it happens. Yep. Thank you, Wayne. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out and chatting. Appreciate everybody who was here. And you guys all have a good night.